Thursday, which means Titans Thursday and the Magic Bucket. We got the BioPure Music City Magic Bucket here for the end of the show, and no idea what's in store for this week. It feels like it's been a quiet week, Zach, because last week was filled with pranks on me. Right? Like I had to be a dinosaur. I wore a wig. I had to eat awful fast food. I had to do a lot of things. Yeah. 3 times if you count lunch, dinner, lunch. You did have to do the cinnamon challenge, which sucked for you. But last week was a busy week. It's been quiet so far, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
That way. Yeah. Let's keep it that way.
Well, we have no choice. It's all up to the bucket. All right, guys, we are talking about the Titans' perfect playoff scenario. I've got it. I think I know exactly where the Titans would love to be seated and how it can get there for their playoff matchups as we are 4 games away. And the reason why we're doing this today is because we want you guys to know who you should root for in all these upcoming games. Like, do you want the Bills to beat the Steelers or do you want the Steelers to beat the Bills? That's an example there too. What happens with the Colts? What happens with the Chiefs as well? So we'll go through all these scenarios. And Zach, I think I got it figured out. So we'll discuss that. And then we'll ask you guys a Titans playoff question specifically. Then yesterday was a big news update when you talk about updates for Adoree Jackson and updates for Isaiah Wilson. And then we will get to the aforementioned Magic Bucket. But we're going to have a big day today here on a Titans Thursday.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't even know. Austin it kind of did this on his own and did the research about the playoff scenarios moving forward over the next month. So I'm curious, just like I think everybody else is, as more people pile in. We got some good information today, right? So we got crack team research on the back end, and we'll disclose exactly what has to happen for this Sunday and moving forward. Plus, here's a question that I should know, but I don't. Who plays tonight? Do you know?
The Rams and the Patriots.
Rams, Patriots. That's right. So, and the Patriots are surging, like they're not out of it completely because the Dolphins and the Bills, who knows? So this is a game to watch. Plus the Rams are a shakeup. I watch the NFC because I root for the NFC. But look, we got football tonight. We got football ahead. We will kind of disclose that. Before we get going, though, please share the broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and on Periscope. For all you Periscopers, bottom right corner of your screen, share now to public. That works on all the platforms. Retweet us into your Twitter timeline. That's where we need to be. Your friends will be like, hey, thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. That will help us out. Also on Facebook, more people will pile in over the next 5 to 10 minutes as we disclose these playoff scenarios. Please share the show. Bottom left corner of your screen if you're watching on Facebook. Share now to public. Sharing is caring. And we will get rocking and rolling here on a Titans Thursday with a lot to discuss.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at A to Z Sports. You like our Facebook page at A to Z Sports Nashville. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time. Got to make sure we thank our sponsors because they make everything happen for our show, for our business, and for you guys. Renters Warehouse Nashville, the professional landlords in the Nashville area. Renterswarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness, where one 15-minute workout equals 5 hours in the weight room. Mandu.com, your first workout's free. The Tucker Agency, Nashville's independent insurance agency at tuckertn.com. Calvin and Settle for your new hardwood floors and finishings, calvinandsettle.com. And the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, boneandjointtn.org. Zach, as for whatever reason, Facebook is dragging. I think Facebook did not even send out.
No,
yeah. So Facebook is having some issues, and I've noticed it's having some issues on its own with some other Facebook platforms. But something's going on with Facebook. But hopefully that'll work itself out throughout the show here. But Zach, I think I have it figured out. I think I've got the perfect playoff scenario for the seeding for the Tennessee Titans, because we've been talking for a couple weeks about what's been going on with Titans, Chiefs, Steelers.
Austin, you know what's going to happen? You're going to go through your perfect scenario, right? This is the title of the show. You're going to tell all the viewers in there right now exactly what the perfect scenario is. And that is when Zuckerberg is going to send the live notification on. That's why we tell you to have your live notifications on, because when we go live anywhere between 8 and 8:15, you get a live notification to your phone, and then boom, that's kind of the initiator to pop on. You're going to get done with your scenario. People are going to jump back in and be like, what happened?
Oh, yeah, people that's the weird thing with this is I don't know what's going on. Now, Kelkin says it's probably because Facebook got sued. Did Facebook get sued recently? Is that something that I missed?
I feel like they get sued all the time. I've not read that one.
But I do know Facebook's having some issues as well because it's just not working how it normally works. And so nobody, even if their live notifications are on, nobody has gotten their live notification that we are live on Facebook. So very strange. We do have people watching on Facebook, but I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it. But I guess we will just roll through and make it happen anyway. So, Zach, we have been talking a little bit about, do the Titans want to position themselves to avoid the Chiefs until the AFC title game?
Yeah, well, and Chiefs versus Steelers, right? Those are the 1-2 seeds battling, and the Steelers lost the right game so far. That was to an NFC opponent against the Washington football team. But the Chiefs, I think we all agree the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. They have been since they won the Super Bowl last year. They still are. They're electric. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, obviously Patrick Mahomes, and a defense that is playing a lot like they played last year in their Super Bowl run. The Titans, look, they have the makeup. I think the Bills have the makeup. There's some question marks. We talked earlier this week about the Browns and the Colts, the Raiders and the Dolphins and the Ravens, kind of on that who's going to make the Titans type run for the rest of the season. The Browns look to have that recipe, but we'll find out Monday night against the Steelers, right? So they're going to be tested. The best part about the end of the season, this is where the NFL gets it right. They have made, it's a monopoly, but they have made it so intriguing. Now with the restructuring of the playoffs, Week 17 always has to be a divisional opponent. They used to not do that. They've done that over the last several years, but they make it must-watch television. And the Titans, they have some questionable opponents, but any given Sunday, even any given Monday, any given Tuesday of this year, really, a team can beat another team. So Jags, Lions, Packers, Texans, we'll discuss, but it's kind of up in the air.
It's very much up in the air. So here is what I think the Titans want to happen. The Titans would love to be the 3 seed in the AFC playoffs, and I think they would love for the Pittsburgh Steelers to be the 2 seed. Because of how the AFC or the NFL does their playoffs, they reseed after every round. So by being the 3 seed, that is the only way to where who your next round opponent would be if you win that wild card game. Because even if you're the 4 seed and the Bills are the 3 seed, even if you're the 4, it doesn't mean you're automatically going to play the 1. You might play the 2 if the 3rd seed gets upset by a wild card team, right? So the only way to guarantee who you play in the divisional round is to be the 3 seed, win that game in the wild card to play the Steelers in the 2 seed. So here's how I think it needs to go for the Titans to be able to actually get this opportunity to avoid playing the Kansas City Chiefs until the AFC Championship game. I think the Titans have to go 11-5 at least, which means you beat the Jags, you beat the Lions, you can lose to the Packers, but you beat the Texans. By going 11-5, the Titans should win the AFC South because we're hoping the Colts can slip up one time. That's still up in the air. But going 11-5, you feel pretty good about winning the AFC South. Now, for the Buffalo Bills, who are 9-3, all you need is to be even in the records with the Buffalo Bills because the Titans have the head-to-head over the Bills. So the Bills have the Steelers, the Broncos, and the Dolphins. So what you need to do is have the Steelers go 2-2 in the next 4 games.
They have one more team, right? I mean, the Bills have 4 games left. You just named 3.
Steelers, Broncos, Patriots, Dolphins.
Oh, you didn't say Patriots.
My bad. Steelers, Broncos, Patriots, Dolphins.
That's important because we're going to do the Patriots tonight.
I wasn't overlooking it.
No, I know. No, I'm just saying that game is important because divisional game. We'll see where the Patriots are at that time, and the Dolphins are no slouch anymore.
Yeah. Right. Sure. No doubt. So you need the Bills to go 2-2. The Steelers need to be one loss more than the Chiefs. So the Steelers need to be 14-2 and the Chiefs be 15-1, or the Chiefs are 14-2, the Steelers have to be 13-3. So you really need the Chiefs to win out. That's the best case scenario. And then all you need is for the Steelers to lose one more game, and they have the Bills, Bengals, Colts, and Browns. The Chiefs have the Dolphins, Saints, Falcons, Chargers. There's a chance that's Chiefs-Falcons game, or the Chiefs-Saints game has a chance to be pretty good in a couple of weeks.
And that is in New Orleans, because I did look at that.
Correct.
That caught my eye. I think the benefit is the Steelers, right? If you want the Steelers to be the 2 seed, out of all these teams that you just said, the Steelers have the toughest road. I know they play the Bengals, but their other 3 opponents out of their last 4 are really tough teams. They're playoff-type teams. The Browns are a playoff team. The Colts could be a playoff team, and the Bills are a playoff team.
Right.
So the probability of the Steelers losing more games and the Chiefs winning, probably pretty good.
Yes. So let's do this. I have mapped out all 4 games for these teams, the Titans, the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Bills. I have the results for all 4 of the rest of the weeks in the NFL. I will tell you which results Titans fans need to root for when it comes to the Titans playoff playoff scenarios. But first, Zach, tell the people about the Tucker Agency.
Yeah, TuckerTN.com is where you need to go to restructure your insurance. TuckerTN.com, Tucker Agency, Nashville's independent insurance agency, right there. It's right here in Nashville, but they can help you anywhere you are. Look and see how much you're paying for your insurance. If it's $1,000, you can save 20% by emailing Will@TuckerTN.com. 20%, that on average is what a customer saves when they email Will@TuckerTN.com. All you got to do is say, hey, heard about you at A to Z Sports. How do I save money on my insurance? They will do the rest of the work for you. It's that easy, that simple. Car insurance, homeowners insurance, life insurance, they have you covered. That's Will@TuckerTN.com.
A to Z Sports here live on a Titans Thursday. Tommy says, just joining in, never got a notification. Yeah, something's messed up with Facebook today. I've been dealing with this, with Facebook being messed up since like 5 o'clock this morning, and I thought it was only the Messenger app, but I guess it's just Facebook in general.
I need to complain. I have Facebook stock, and so I'm an owner. I have ownership in this company, and that's unacceptable.
Yeah,
let me talk to the manager,
especially because it's affecting your other company that you also have.
Yeah, that I'm putting a little bit more time and effort.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I think here's what needs to happen: the Titans need to get the 3rd seed in the AFC. The Steelers need to get the 2nd seed in the AFC. Here's what needs to happen: the Titans need to beat the Jags, beat the Lions, beat the Packers, or lose to the Packers, and beat the Texans. That's the very least that the Titans can do. Get to 11-5, and you feel good about your situation. Now, you need the Steelers to have one more loss than the Chiefs, and the Bills to be even record-wise with the Titans. So the Bills are who you need to lose the most games. The Bills have to go 2-2 in the last 4 games. So upcoming this weekend is Steelers at Bills. You might be thinking you want the Steelers to lose that game. No, you want the Steelers to beat the Bills on Sunday, because that helps the Titans out to get that 3rd seed. The Steelers need to beat the Bills, and then the Steelers just then have to lose to either the Colts or the Browns. And that's a possibility. Lose one for the Steelers of the Colts or the Browns in week 16 and week 17. For the Bills, a loss to the Steelers, now all the Bills have to do is split between at Patriots and home versus Dolphins. So that's likely to happen. For the Bills to lose to 2 potential playoff teams that are in the division, at Patriots and versus Dolphins, So that is an important thing that you need to have. And then just let the Chiefs win out. Let the Chiefs do their thing. But you need the Steelers over the Bills this Sunday, and then the Steelers to split between Colts, Browns, and then you need the Bills, obviously, to lose this Sunday to the Steelers, and then split between Patriots, Dolphins. That gets Titans, Bills, both 11-5. Titans have the tiebreaker. Steelers have one more loss than the Chiefs. So you get a setup for a divisional round, Titans at Pittsburgh, and that's what you're hoping for.
All right, so Austin, this is why I'm here. And you did a lot of really good work there, and I don't disagree with anything that you've said of this scenario playing out. But let me give you another scenario. You talk about best case and worst case. Well, best case, what about this? The possibility. The Chiefs are the favorites in the AFC. I'm not saying anything new, but who would you rather have the Chiefs play in the divisional round for a possible upset so you don't have to face them in the AFC Championship game, right? Last year, the number 1 seed did not make it to the AFC Championship game. Lamar Jackson, as we all know, was beat and defeated by the Tennessee Titans. That can't happen. Who do you want the Chiefs to face? Maybe, what about that concentration?
No, it's good. That's a good thought because you in the divisional round?
Yes.
Because then if you're talking about that, now the AFC title game's in Nashville.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Well, yes, because they would face the 2 seed if that played out, yes.
Right, so that would be ideal. So who has the best chance to beat the Chiefs? Who's got defenses and offenses that can be explosive? I think you look at the Buffalo Bills, I think, who in this case, in my scenario, would be the 4 seed. So if it goes chalk in the wild card, which rarely happens, you would have Titans versus Steelers, Bills at Chiefs, and you think the Bills maybe could beat the Chiefs, and then you get a rematch in Nashville for the AFC title game of Bills at Titans right there for a Super Bowl chance, which just has Music City Miracle flashbacks all over the place. Could you imagine that situation? But I also think the second team, who is currently outside looking in, the Las Vegas Raiders clearly understand how to compete with the Chiefs. They've beat them once, and they played them tight the second time. So you would think a third game against the Las Vegas Raiders would be ideal, but the Raiders would have to upset the Bills or even I don't even know who to be able to force that matchup in the second round against the Chiefs.
So I kind of agree with these 3 comments that I'll showcase. John Michael Presley say the Bills for sure. I agree with that. I think that I would love to see what I want to see in these playoffs are 2 things. Okay. I want to see Bills at Chiefs because I think there's a possibility the Bills could upset them. I think Josh Allen has ascended to improve. Their defense is solid, and Stephon Diggs is a badass. I want to see that. And then the other thing I want to see in the playoffs, I want to see Titans-Browns again for you and I, but also I think that would be a great matchup because those are 2 very close teams this year. I think they are even teams. They have their flaws. They have their miscues, whether it's quarterback's mistake by the Browns or defensive lapses for the Titans. Those are the 2 playoff scenarios that I'd like to see. Bama Shane brings up, it doesn't really matter if you play at home or on the road. There's really no advantage of home games this year. And you know what? I don't disagree. Well, the only advantage is you get to maybe sleep in the comfort of your own home. But let's face it, the Titans, they haven't played very well at home.
No. Well, the Chiefs have fans.
Correct.
The Chiefs probably have
fans.
Huh?
The Titans have fans in the stadium.
But not to the level. Like the Chiefs started at like 22%, which is higher than the Titans will ever get to. So the Chiefs are the Texas A&M of attendance in the NFL. Where Texas A&M basically said, yeah, we're only at like 25%, but no, they're not. They're at like 60% in College Station. The Chiefs are getting fans in there that can actually have an impact, where the Bills, 0 fans, if I'm correct. The Steelers, 0 fans, if I'm correct. And the Titans have what? They're 12 to 15%. So the Chiefs actually do have more of a home field advantage for the playoffs. And it's freezing cold in Kansas City always in late January, so that benefits the Chiefs against most of the teams they play. The
Well,
Titans, I think, would fit out very well with the cold weather too.
And that's what James Henderson brings up. And this is the third comment that I want to showcase. He says, I'd like to get another crack at KC, split last year, but I think the Titans match up well. James, I don't disagree with you. And I think that here's the difficult part. I think there's an advantage for the Tennessee Titans to play the Kansas City Chiefs again, because I think there were some lessons learned. I think that I definitely think there's some lessons learned.
With this defense.
You didn't let me finish.
Okay.
Right there are pros and there are cons. I think the pros are that there are lessons learned, and getting another crack at the Kansas City Chiefs, you'll take a different approach. The con is, and this is the sobering truth, is the Titans defense is a lot worse than it was last year, and it was no good in the third and fourth quarter of that AFC Championship game. So you're going to have to CC Jason Witten and pull a rabbit out of your head and figure out what the hell to do against a prolific offense like the Chiefs. But if you run the football, you get a lead, and you try your damnedest to contain Patrick Mahomes. And here's the other wild card, Austin. We'll talk about this later in the show. Possibility of Adoree Jackson coming back because he practiced, Christian Fulton being a little healthier, and that takes time away from Breon Borders, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, you do not want Breon Borders to continue to play, because the longer Breon Borders plays, the more likely he is to get figured out and toasted. So that's definitely something that could happen there. A to Z Sports here live. See, my guy Top Troop on YouTube says, I would love to beat the Steelers out of the playoffs, then beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, and play Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl. If the Titans are able to pull that off, I mean, you're talking about beating Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Famer. Then you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, Hall of Famer. And then you're talking about Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Famer. That would be a Cinderella run once again to the Super Bowl. If
usually
that would
fall short.
Yes.
It's like last year, it just fell short. And I called my shot in November, early November. This season feels like the Green Bay Packers are going to the Super Bowl. I said it then. I just have a gut feeling this is the year it seems that Aaron Rodgers goes to the Super Bowl. I don't know. I just feel like it's his year.
Well, all right. There's one other thing we haven't talked about yet in this show. I've gone through what needs to happen with the Steelers schedule, the Chiefs, and the Bills schedule, along with the Titans. Well, there's the Colts sitting there too. So which do you guys think will happen? This is a prediction. What does your gut tell you? Not what you want, but what do you think will happen? Will the Titans win the AFC South championship, or will they be a wild card team? That's our next discussion. But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Boneandjointtn.org. Whenever that injury happens in your life, which is bound to happen because the injury rate in life is 100%, just like football, kind of. But make sure you get the best care possible at the Bone and Joint Institute. They take care of you from the very beginning to the end. They don't have to send you all around town to different places to go get imaging and testing, and also the surgery centers and the rehab centers, all in one building right there in Franklin, Tennessee. Boneandjointtn.org.
We've partnered with MyBookie this season for our sports betting sponsor, MyBookie.ag. Code MyTitans. Double your first deposit right there at MyBookie.ag. Use that code, especially for our Titans fans, for A to Z Sports fans. You can double your first deposit. $100 really means you get $200. You can't beat that. That's MyBookie.ag. We asked a question regarding the Titans. Division winner or wild card team? And I think this is kind of the perfect time to ask because, look, they're coming off back-to-back games that are very different. The Indianapolis Colts performance in Indy was phenomenal. I mean, they came out firing. They punched back. Then the cream rose to the top. They destroyed the Colts. Then this past Sunday against the Browns, they looked bizarro. It was awful. They couldn't score. Defensively, they were atrocious. But looking forward, they've split with the Colts. They have 2 divisional games. They have right now the tiebreak because of that divisional game. But what do you think plays out? Austin, what are the comments saying?
So right now I'm seeing Jared says division winner. Colts schedule is difficult. We'll talk about that in a second. Jarvis says division champs. Tommy says champs. Michael says this is a hard question to answer because the defense is so unpredictable. And then Mike says, I really think the Titans are going to be a wild card team due to the defense. Andrew says Titans can miss the playoffs if they play like last Sunday. The wild card teams are legit. Yeah, but they're not playing anybody like the Brown. Like they've got the Jags, the Lions, who the Lions played a lot better and beat the Bears last week after firing Matt Patricia after Thanksgiving. But still, the Lions are not that good of a team. The Bears are bad too. The Bears still put up over 30 points, which is crazy. Jeff says, I'm predicting the Titans win the division. Sean says wild card loss, but that's not answering the question because you can be a division champion and lose in the wild card or be a wild card team and lose in the wild card. So do you think the Titans will win the AFC South or will be a wild card team? Real Tony says Titans win the South and will play the Colts in the first round in Nashville. G-Man says that they end up with the same records, the Titans and Colts, but the Titans win the division because of that tiebreaker. And Steven says, gut tells me wild card team there too. Here's
since 08. They hadn't won the division since 2008.
Yeah. Zach, I'll go ahead and let you go. I just read a bunch of comments. Bama Shane, who is typically Mr. Pessimistic, says he's leaning towards AFC South champions. I don't think Bama Shane has predicted any team in the state of Tennessee to win a championship of some sort since we've started the show.
Yeah, and that was the original iPhone, 2008.
Yeah, well, Bama Shane's been a day one A to Z follower, like back on radio. And Bama Shane has never been this optimistic about a Tennessee team winning any type of championship.
Well, 2020 is weird. I mean, we do know that. So
yeah, Myles Garrett was named the Walter Payton Man of the Year.
Yeah, well, that obviously that was earned, right? Like, I mean,
after he was that's like, you know, Myles Garrett's not a bad guy, but the guy hit another dude in the face with a helmet and got suspended. And then the next year he won the Walter Payton Community Man of the Year in the NFL, which I think is funny because he was literally told you have to go do things to earn your way back to get reinstated.
Well, it's like doing community service after you get a speeding ticket. But then you know what?
You win an award.
No, you don't leave. You do your 8 hours and you're like, I'm coming back tomorrow for the hell of it.
Regardless,
I'll earn you an award.
Regardless, 2020, weird year. So, Zach, what do you think? AFC South champs or wild card team for the Titans?
So I'm actually going to go with G-Man on base of what he said because I thought this makes the most sense. The Titans don't play consistent enough for me to just hand them the AFC South title. What I think is going to happen is they're going to tie. They're going to have the same record as the Colts, but they'll have the tiebreaker. Because out of these next 4 games, I don't know. I think they're going to beat the Jags this week. I think they should, right? But I don't know. I mean, I think they will beat the Jags. So then you got Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun Watson, I think, is scary. That last game of the year, Deshaun Watson was torn up about losing to the Colts this past week because of the fashion that they did it.
Because it was his fault.
Well,
normally the Texans losing, not Deshaun Watson's fault.
Yeah, usually. Well, look, it was a questionable snap. It was unfortunate. It happened. But that's one of those where, like, we don't do Houston Texans radio or shows like that. He's done so much that it's hard to, like, completely blame Deshaun Watson because he's all you have. But I think Matthew Stafford, that matchup's going to be very interesting against Detroit. I think he could carve up this Titans defense. But I think that they get to 11-5. The Colts get to 11-5, and the Titans win the tiebreak, and they win the division. So I think the Titans are better than the Colts, but I think that they win the tiebreak and they both are even. I like that scenario. That makes a lot of sense.
So the Colts' remaining schedule, because everybody knows who watches our show, you know the Titans' remaining schedule by heart by now. The Colts go at Las Vegas this weekend. And they're home versus the Texans. So the Colts had a weird schedule because they went Titans, Packers, Titans, and then Texans, Raiders, Texans. So both division opponents, they got like twice in 3 weeks. And then they got week 1 Jags, week 17 Jags. So weird schedule for the Indianapolis Colts throughout the entire year. But so at Raiders, Texans, at Steelers, and then ending with the Jags in week 17. So the Titans just have to cross their fingers and hope that the Colts lose in the next 3 weeks. Because once they get to week 17, the Jags will not care. The Jags, who have been fighting hard the last month, will no longer be fighting hard in week 17 on January 3rd, 2021. So you need the Colts to really slip up and lose at Raiders, home versus the Texans, or at the Steelers. And you kind of want that if you're the Titans, you don't want the Texans to want to play spoiler, because G-Man on Base also brought up that the Texans would love to play spoiler against the Titans in week 17, but you want the Texans to give up. So I think you want the Colts to lose as early as possible.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Man, the Texans are what?
They have nothing to play for now. They're still fighting.
Yeah, because they were at an opportunity to be 5-7. 5-7 and winning a few games in a row and kind of catching your feet a little bit. Because if they had won versus the Colts, what they had an opportunity to, that would have been their third win in a row and their fourth in 5 weeks.
Well, Austin, you know why the Texans have something to play for?
Why is that?
Because the more games they win, the worse the first round pick is for the Miami Dolphins, who is an AFC team that in the next 3 or 4 years could come back and bite you in the ass because Bill O'Brien screwed the pooch on your entire franchise. So they have incentive. It's kind of bizarro, right? The Jets and the Jags, they want to lose because they want the best quarterback. The Texans, they really need to win, so the pick is worse.
Yeah, but I don't think, while I get that logic, I don't think the players give a damn about the Dolphins draft pick.
I think that they're not stupid to it.
Right, but the players for the Texans.
The better the Dolphins are over the next several years is not good for the Texans.
All right, so Bama Shane says losing Fuller was brutal. Yeah, and Roby. So, the Texans lost their best wide receiver and their best cover corner.
They always lose Will Fuller at some point.
Well, I know, but to PEDs, that's a 6-game suspension.
That's the only thing. That's the only reason why he was healthy.
Right. Brian Cushing does not need to be on your strength staff or something like that's going to happen. Yes, he's their assistant strength coach.
That guy's a psychopath.
But that's not why they had 2 guys get popped.
He's a poor man's Bill Romanowski.
Basically, yeah, for sure. But again, the Texans, they have the Bears, Colts, Bengals, Titans. If the Texans had beat the Colts over the weekend, this past weekend, now they're at 5-7 with the Bears, Colts, and Bengals on the schedule again. There's a chance for the Texans to really flip it around and start fighting for something. But they lose that game, now they're 4-8, and it's over. So if the Texans lose to the Colts next week, I think they're dead to rights and they won't fight as hard in week 17 against the Titans. That's my overall thought. But my answer is I think the Titans will win the AFC South. That's what I predicted them to do before the season. I've got a long-term bet down at mybookie.ag. I used code MyTitans to double my first deposit, and I picked the Titans. I think it was plus 175 to win the AFC South, and I would love to get paid off of that.
So Justin brings this up, which I think comes into our next scenario in our next conversation. Says he's predicting the AFC South champ, but he says, I think this defense finally realizes what they're doing and gets hot like KC did at the end of last year. So that gives us a little bit of a lead into Adoree Jackson practicing and how good this defense is going to be, right? How much improved will they be when getting secondary players back? Adoree Jackson has had a lot of time to get better. A lot of times, months, multiple months to heal whatever the hell was wrong with him. We don't know. It's a mystery to us all. But that's where we're going to next is the impact of Adoree Jackson.
All right, Zach, before we dive into this, tell us about Calvin and Subtle.
Yeah, Calvin and Subtle is where you need to get your hardwood floors. 615-448-6414. That's 615-448-6414 or online at calvinandsubtle.com. This is the time to redo your home. You've been stuck in your home all of 2020. We all have. And you know what? That's probably not going to change. I don't think January 1, your boss is going to call you and say, come back into the office, baby. Mask free. That's not happening. So improve your home because that's where you're going to be working from if you haven't already done that over the last several months. Calvin and Subtle can improve your house, help the equity of your home, and rip up that old carpet or that old hardwood flooring that just doesn't look real good. You can replace the kitchen. You can replace your living room, your dens, hardwood floors. But that is the best case scenario for you. 615-448-6414. Just kind of throw this idea out to your wife. Say, I know a guy listening to this awesome sports show. Zach's got probably the best takes. Austin, sometimes iffy. But that's beside the point. We need new hardwood floors. CalvinandSuttle.com, 615-448-6414.
A to Z Sports, you're live on a Titans Thursday. We'll talk about Adoree Jackson. Do you think he'll have a big impact, small impact, or no impact? Here is an update that just came out like 2 minutes ago. Shane Bowen on Adoree Jackson, quote, "We're making sure everything we're doing is about getting him back healthy whenever that is. We're trying to keep him engaged with what we're doing in the meetings and what will be asked of him once he gets back." Now, Adoree did practice for the first time since, I believe, the first time he practiced since he was added to the active roster Wednesday before the Titans Thursday night game against the Colts. So it's been almost a month since he has practiced. Now, we saw him out there on the field. So big impact, small impact, or no impact for Adoree Jackson this season.
I want to do this real quick, and I hate being the bearer of bad news, but Evan, I'm going to have to inform you of maybe something that you didn't know. But Jadeveon Clowney's not walking through that door because Clowney needs to start playing well. So they have officially put him on IR. You may not have known that. It's okay. But Clowney is done for the season. His Titans' possible career is done with this franchise.
Evan learned.
Okay. Evans. And I hate in the holiday spirit, I hate to bring Cole, but that's just the facts.
You handled it well.
Yeah, he's not walking through that door.
All right, big impact.
Or he's just going to be limping a little bit.
Adoree Jackson this season. Big impact, small impact, or no impact. So Louis and Jarvis say small. Chad says big if he actually plays in a game. BL says big impact, obviously. His absence is what had made Byard look worse. That's maybe an assessment on B-Hall. Let's see. James says that's a no for this weekend. Tim says right now, no impact. He actually has to line up first to make any impact. So we're projecting for the next 4 weeks plus playoffs. Robbie says impact, but not enough. So we'll just label that as small. Michael McDonald on YouTube says no impact. James says the Titans really screwed up this year, having 3 games and they couldn't get anything going in the first half. That's fact, but not on relevancy. Bama Shane says they need a better pass rush for any better play in the secondary. Adoree or no Adoree. True. Steven says no impact. So Zach, where are you with this? Robert with a big impact as well.
Whew, man, it's so tough because it's just we don't know. We don't know enough. And they've done a very good job of kind of keeping that from us. Is he – so this is how I got to break it down. I'm just going to kind of talk through it. Is he better than Breon Borders?
Yes.
Yes, he is. Is a 70% Adoree Jackson better than Breon Borders? I would say yes. It has to be – here's what I'll say. Small impact without Christian Fulton. Once Christian Fulton returns, big impact. That's my final answer. That makes the most sense to me because I think that's the only way. And you saw this. You got Desmond King. You got rid of Jonathan Joseph. But after that Cincinnati Bengals game, John Robinson looked at this roster and said, look, we're not trying to make the playoffs today. We're not trying to make the playoffs next week. This is going to be a long road towards the end of the season. Still have a month left to play. I think that's the long play that John Robinson said, that I want by week 16 and 17, Sunday Night Football, Titans, Packers, that ain't getting flexed out like the Cowboys, I'll tell you that. You want to have Desmond King, Adoree Jackson, and Christian Fulton on the field. And if that's the scenario, if that's the case, now their pass rush is still disastrous, but that is a big impact. So that's how I answer it.
Yeah, and I agree. Big impact. And Reno asked, any update on Fulton? And I don't know if you guys watched our social media videos that Buck put out from practice yesterday. You noticed it was about Adoree Jackson, right? But there was another jersey number that you also saw, and that was 26. And if you look at Christian Fulton, he was designated to return from injured reserve starting his 21-day window on November 24th. So his 3 weeks will be done December 15th. So maybe Christian Fulton misses the Jags game, but then if he gets activated to the roster early next week and practices, because he's obviously been working, right? We saw him yesterday on the field. He's been working. Maybe Christian Fulton can make his return against the Lions next week, the week after.
Christian Fulton subtly, they have done this early. They can put him in on blitz packages, corner blitzes that they did a lot more with Logan Ryan. But the issue with this defense, guys, is they're dealing with a backup inside linebacker. Will Compton is not fast. He's slow compared to Jayon Brown. Their secondary is suspect, but they have no pass rush. And when a quarterback has the opportunity to throw the football, and your name is Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, or whoever the hell they're going to play in the playoffs, that's going to be an issue. So you can improve your secondary and bet on Adoree Jackson being better than Breon Borders, but I think it all starts with the outside pass rush. And I think Harold Landry can cut the mustard, but on the other side, I just don't think that it's enough. And so how can you, and this is what the defensive coordinator, whoever it is, the mystery man who has that title, they need to really start to chalk up some unique ways to get after the opposing quarterback, or they're going to continue to lose games.
I gave a lot of praise for Bama Shane for being optimistic earlier, like 5-10 minutes ago. Now I'm going to LOL at Bama Shane, who says, I honestly haven't been impressed with Fulton, just my opinion. Well, Shane, he started and he played in 4 games. He got hurt in his 5th game. And in his first 4 games, he had an interception and a sack. And then he got hurt. And then you haven't seen him since October 25th is when he got hurt. So the guy's missed 2 months. So, of course, you haven't been impressed with Christian Fulton, just like you haven't been impressed with Darrington Evans because of injuries. Completely different. Like the Titans rookie class has been completely decimated, but for different reasons. And we're going to talk about Isaiah Wilson here a little bit.
It's been bad overall, right?
Yes,
so
but
the best ability is availability.
Sure. But Darrington Evans and Christian Fulton and Larrell Murchison getting hurt, and Chris Jackson also got hurt. That's something that we talked about before training camp even started about how will COVID impact the Titans rookies. And clearly it impacted their ability to stay healthy, removing Isaiah Wilson from the conversation. Because everybody
Isaiah Wilson's not healthy.
Well, physically, okay? Physically healthy.
Well, you got to have both.
No, I understand that, Zach. I'm just trying to talk about like them as players. Everybody who was on the 53-man roster out of camp has gotten hurt. Fulton, Evans, Murchison, and Chris Jackson.
How many games did Fulton play?
4, and he got hurt in the 5th game against the Steelers.
Okay.
So he played against and then he missed it. He missed the Bills game too. So because of the COVID list.
Yeah. And Valentino's right. Valentino says we're giving Borders too much hype. And I think it's understandable. He's just better than Jonathan Joseph, right? So if you're better, and I think I gave a good example of this. So I'm glad you brought this up, Valentino. And you've been watching the show for a while. I do know that because you can't miss Valentino. What a name. Jonathan Joseph is an F player. Breon Borders is a D player. So a D is better than an F. It doesn't fail all the time, like Jonathan Joseph, who doesn't have a job, and probably his career's over. It's done. He's not going to get another job. So, but what you need are C, B, and A players. Christian Fulton may be a C player. Adoree Jackson, when healthy, can be a B+ player. at times, maybe an A. I probably wouldn't go that far. I would say B+ player at his best. But where he is now, what is he going to be playing at? In that retrospect, C and B players are better than D and F players. So borders off the field can only help you.
And by the way, Jonathan Joseph played for the Cardinals.
What?
He got claimed by the Cardinals. He actually had one tackle last week against the LA
And what have the Cardinals been doing the last several weeks?
Not winning games.
Losing.
Yes.
He's the unlucky rabbit's foot. You don't want that.
Right. So, look, the point is there's opportunity for the Titans to get faster and more athletic in the secondary with the potential of Adoree Jackson and Christian Fulton returning for the last couple games of the regular season, and that's all you need. You need them to get geared up for January. That's the point.
Yeah, and I want to say this one thing before we get to our next topic, Austin. Okay. We look so microscopically at these corners because the pass rush blows. Correct. Is because the quarterback has an opportunity to actually throw the football. And then now it's up to the corners. So we wouldn't be talking as much about the corners if they didn't have as much opportunity. Mm-hmm. As a cornerback, you don't want the opportunity. You don't want the ball coming your way. It's like Revis Island. The reason why it's Revis Island is they always threw to the other guy. It's Alteron Werner getting a Pro Bowl selection and getting a huge 4 to 5 year contract worth multi-millions of dollars. Because at the time, this was Jason McCourty probably at the height of his prime. They wouldn't throw to Jason McCourty's side. Titans fans know this, so they throw to the other side. The problem is they're throwing to everybody because the quarterback's got all damn day.
Yeah, now Malcolm Butler's having a good season.
Fair.
He is. Malcolm Butler's having a good season. He's doing very well when it comes to Pro Bowl votes. So that's a different situation, though. But Malcolm Butler is having a very strong season.
When did they come out with a Pro Bowl?
It's a good question.
They're not having the Pro Bowl this year.
Well, but they're still naming people to the Pro Bowl because that's way too important for everybody's contracts.
Yeah.
Money. Like, they're not having the actual game, thank God.
It will hurt them because guys won't opt out because they're not playing. So
now we'll actually know who the real Pro Bowlers are.
Right. Yes, you're right. Vince Young,
stupid-ass alternate Pro Bowl. Yeah, no alternate Pro Bowl. That's a good thing for the NFL. That's how they should handle it moving forward.
One thing. Okay. One guy we know is going back to the Pro Bowl.
Derrick Henry. Yep, you're right.
2-time.
I don't even know where that Pro Bowl shirt is. Maybe this year they'll actually have a jersey for him because he's a back-to-back Pro Bowler.
That's what the bet should have been. It should have been every year that Derrick Henry makes a Pro Bowl, you have to buy a jersey.
Well, that's you missed on that one. You had your opportunity, but you missed it. All right, A to Z Sports. Now let's discuss Isaiah Wilson. And I really want to know, to be honest, where you guys as Titans fans are standing right now with Isaiah Wilson. Like, where are y'all at? Because I want to know, are you done with the guy?
At home with Isaiah Wilson.
Yeah, sounds like a cooking show. But where are you at with Isaiah Wilson right now? Are you done with him? Are you sympathetic? Do you have empathy? Are you just pissed off? Where do you stand right now with Isaiah Wilson? But first, let me tell everybody about Renters Warehouse. Speaking of where you at home with Isaiah Wilson, renterswarehouse.com. They're the professional landlords in the Nashville area. Go there to find out how much your home can rent for. The rental market right now in Nashville and the surrounding area is booming because people rent in uncertain times that we are in. If you already have rental property, regulations are changing rapidly. So make sure you let the pros do it and don't try to DIY it because that's going to cause you more headaches. And Renters Warehouse makes it super easy on you. There's no binding contracts, so it can be temporary or long-term, either way. There's also no marketing cost. It's just $189 a month payment, $89 a month. They do everything for you. That's all you got to do for Renters Warehouse to create a cash flow machine, mailbox money with your rental property. Renterswarehouse.com is where to go.
Got some good comments rolling in I'm about to read, but MyBookie, code MyTitans, double your first deposit right there. We've partnered with them this 2020 football season right there. Double your first deposit for all of our Titans fans. Code MyTitans. So let's read some comments. C. Smith 0607 says completely done. Don't want him on the team. So that answers a question of how he feels, Austin, of what you're trying to figure out. Trevor says 100% over him. G-Man on base says done. Mike says complete bust, waste of a first-round pick. Kelkin says done with him. Kevin says, I honestly feel bad for him. He clearly has some personal issues, and I really hope he gets help. Kyle says deserves a second chance. Guy's really young. Want to see him do a full normal off season, which I respect Kyle right there of what he had to say. Chris says, I'm out on him. He's done. He's wasted space and talent. We tired, boss, from John Michael Presley. That's pretty good.
These are the type of, this is why I wanted to ask this open-ended, because I wanted to get your guys' true feelings and thoughts about Isaiah Wilson.
BMO on YouTube says, I think from a football perspective, horrible. As a human, really hope he doesn't do something tragic. And I think everybody feels that same way, right? I don't think, unless you're a sadistic person, you don't want any harm on somebody else's life. That doesn't make any sense. Chris says, give him one more year. Can't afford to give up on him because of his position and his size. And I would add not only his position and size, but what round you actually drafted him, right?
Draft position, yeah.
Justin says, I honestly forget about him. It's easy to do. I agree with that. So to be determined from Captain Kronk. I don't understand how he went from outstanding guy to doing donuts on Charlotte Avenue. Captain Kronk, I completely agree. I think the thing that I don't understand is how you can miss this bad. I saw something, and I think that you could make a very good case for it. I'd like somebody for our website to write about it and do some more research, because I think it'd be a great article. But is Isaiah Wilson having the worst first year of an NFL football player, first rounder in NFL history?
Right.
I'm not talking about like Kevin White. His first year was awful. Why? Because he tore his ACL. Brashard Perriman, first year, awful, because he tore his ACL. This is not about injury.
And you're not even talking about
opportunity of not playing. This is stacked up over weeks and weeks and months on roster, off roster, suspension, non-suspension, now really suspension. Like, this could be the worst first round, first year in the National Football League's history.
Because it's not even about football. It's not even about play. It's not even about like Jeff Okudah with the Lions, who is the third overall pick out of Ohio State, is not having a good year, but he's playing. Like Isaiah Wilson, it took until Thanksgiving almost for him to appear for a snap. And even that was in trash time on extra point in kneel downs, and he got bowled over on the extra point. And Travis says, I want to see Wilson play. He's huge, and I feel like he would be solid. Dennis Kelly and Questenberry get beat a lot. He would make it easier to run the ball behind that massive wall. Travis, bro, like I know you haven't had the ability to watch Isaiah Wilson actually do anything in practice. Ever since, like in training camp, he was already behind Sam Brilo. He was losing reps to Ty Sambrailo at right tackle. So it was like Dennis Kelly, Ty Sambrailo, then Isaiah Wilson. That's as deep as they go in training camp. Then once he got off the COVID list after he spent a month on it, he was practicing. But from everybody that goes to practice and watches the open period, he was holding the pad in offensive line individual period for the other offensive lineman to hit. He wasn't even involved in the drill for his position. He was a scout team member and a pad holder. That is what happened. That's where Isaiah Wilson is. He is so far away from actually playing in a game that this has to be the worst start to an NFL career for a first-round draft pick ever.
I have a worse one, and Bobby brings it up, and I pulled up his stats because this wasn't his first year, but Justin Blackmon for the Jags, and you know what? He had similar personal issues, right? He had a drinking problem. He was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
He did not play his first year. He was drafted in 2012, 5th overall in the first round. he came back and had an opportunity to play in 2013, played 4 games, 415 yards receiving, which is actually not bad.
Good.
1 touchdown in 5 games. He had 2 games in back-to-back weeks. One 190 yards receiving, the other 136 yards receiving. Like that helped them. Now the Jags blew, so they lost both those games. But Justin Blackmon at least got on the field in year 2. Isaiah Wilson,
so what happened in Blackmon year 1? Was that when he was suspended?
Yeah, because DUI, he had problems.
Right. But he could play. Like, and that's the thing is, like, we've like I don't know when, I don't remember when in the offseason Justin Blackmon got suspended. Like, did Justin Blackmon have a training camp and then get suspended?
Well, he didn't play at all. So he was drafted in 2012. That was April, probably back then. That was more late March. And he never played a game in 2012. So then the next year, that's when he played 4 games. And then I believe he got suspended again because he relapsed. It's kind of like the Josh Gordon situation, right? But
sure.
A first-round pick, the problem is, and so Justin Blackmon doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is Isaiah Wilson does not need to be Justin Blackmon. If we're speaking about him in the same breath, there's a big-time problem because Justin Blackmon impacted and helped his team, if any.
So, Zach, Justin Blackmon did play late in his first season. He was arrested. He was in the 2012 draft, like you're saying. He was arrested for the DUI on June 3rd, 2012, and then he scored his first career touchdown November 4th, 2012. He was suspended the following year for the first 4 games. So Justin Blackmon actually had production on the field as a rookie. Therefore, I don't think in the modern era, in my lifetime, I don't think there's a big of a waste of a rookie season than Isaiah Wilson, because it's not even about football. There's so many things that are happening that's keeping him off the field. But when he even did practice in training camp before all this stuff happened, he wasn't even good. Like in training camp in early August, it was pre-TSU party. It was pre-DUI. It was pre-COVID list. Actually, post-COVID list the first time. But he was just bad. He just wasn't even good.
You know what he is?
What? He's a lazy panda.
He's the guy in college, first year from under his parents' wing that goes to college. And actually, my first roommate in college was kind of like Isaiah Wilson. He was dreadful. He had a .72 GPA. He didn't know how to handle not being under somebody's eye, somebody's watch.
Yeah.
Having that parent tell them what to do. And look, I wish my freshman, and he watches the show because I've seen him randomly, and you know he made it, he survived. But at Ole Miss, and I'll just tell you, right, my college experience at Ole Miss, I mean, you drink and you party, and that's just it's a kind of a lifestyle, and you don't have to do all that stuff. But that influence, you have to be able to manage both of your lives, right? And he was unable to do that. Now in a COVID year, he didn't have any guardians to hold him accountable. That's been, I think, Isaiah Wilson's biggest problem. Maybe Kirby Smart the previous year, he didn't have to worry about COVID. He could get in somebody's ass and be like, "Don't do this, Isaiah. Don't do this."
Right. Now the problem is Isaiah Wilson's not 18, he's 21. And there is a difference, right?
But high school to college is a big jump in one man's life.
Absolutely.
You know what else is a big jump? College to real world. How are you? Because you can't skip, and this is the biggest difference between college and the real world, in my opinion. I used to wake up one day and I swear, I'm going to take a me day. I'm not going to go to class today. You know why? Because I can make that decision, right? I called them me days. I'd go in my house, my living room with some roommates. I'd be like, "Yo, Stu, what the hell are you doing here?" He's like, "I'm taking a me day." And I just be like, "Oh, okay." You can't do that in the real world. You can't take a me day. Austin, if you said, "I'm taking a me day today," that's a big problem.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's the big thing for Isaiah Wilson. he didn't adapt very well from college to working world. Now, the difference is he got millions of dollars to start. And here's the thing. The only person that can help Isaiah Wilson not be one of the worst picks in NFL history is Isaiah Wilson. And if he can't do that, if he doesn't have the mental strength or capacity or mindset, it's never going to work. And the Tennessee Titans, and this is the hard part, guys. Let's go back to team, not necessarily individual. This first round draft bust won't hurt you this year. It'll hurt you in 3 years.
But it is hurting you this year.
But 3 years, you'll sit around and you'll be like, damn, that was a complete waste.
Yep. Like Kevin Dodd is hurting you right now.
Yes. When was he drafted? I forget.
2016. Kevin Dodd actually hurt you last year. Kevin Dodd is why you could. The miss on Kevin Dodd is why you could not pressure Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship.
So this would be his last contract year.
This would be last year would have been his fourth season. So last year would have been Kevin Dodd's last year of his rookie contract, just like it was Derrick Henry.
Well,
last year,
pressure on Patrick Mahomes, it would help a pass rusher.
Literally what I just said. Yeah, absolutely. So Kevin Dodd hurt you last year. Isaiah Wilson will hurt you down the road. Now, Tress says in 3 years he could be an all-pro. Who knows what happens? Byard is an example of the opposite. Yeah, but Kevin Byard, I think, will bounce back.
So here's the deal, Tress. And look, good. I'm an optimistic person. I get it. That's great. Very rarely, the percentage chance that a man goes from completely confused and just like lost himself to Pro Bowl player and consistent, probably a 2% chance. And I'm being nice. It's just that's not going to happen. All you're trying to do is get Isaiah Wilson time. Like, can he play? You don't even know if he can play. Some guys, they get drafted, they do all of the right.
That's the problem because, again, Travis on YouTube is talking about trying to get him on the goal line. And I've already talked about Travis's first comment. He wasn't any good in August before all of these other things started to stack up. Like, he's not like he showed up so out of shape. And Alex Doherty brings up Darren Waller turned it around. You're right. That is your model, Darren Waller. But Darren Waller had to really hit rock bottom. And his Bussin' with the Boys podcast interview was fantastic. And you can check that out back in the spring whenever they did that. Darren Waller is a good example, but he's also, unfortunately, he is an outlier. Because Josh Gordon just got reinstated again. And I'm sitting here going like, how many times is Josh Gordon going to have to get reinstated? You know what I mean? Like 5? Like how many times does he need to get reinstated until he's done? And Tress says, look at Nate Davis. Trashed him last year and now he was singing his praises. Nate Davis was injured in training camp and actually came back and played and was on the field.
Yeah.
The thing with Isaiah Wilson is he is so far away from even being legitimate in practice for a week.
He can't even practice for a week. They suspend him.
Right. Well, and then last week he was ruled out because of an illness. And what did we say last week about the illness on his injury report? Is that he's lost the benefit of the doubt. We see an illness. Isaiah Wilson misses Wednesday and Thursday practice for an illness. And what do? We all collectively roll our eyes because it's another, here we go again.
And Jared, and this is probably a comment of in jest or joke, says Pac-Man did it. Well, the difference, but Pac-Man actually, like, here's the difference. I'm just going to, this has nothing to do with any of these players, but there's a difference between a functioning alcoholic and a non-functioning alcoholic, right? A functioning alcoholic can go do your everyday work, live a life, have a family, do all the things, but drinks all damn day. A non-functioning alcoholic has to drink inside of a room, cannot get a job, has to steal to do things because they can't live a normal life. Now, that is a separate analogy of what I'm talking about, but Pac-Man was functioning with problems. Isaiah Wilson is non-functioning with problems.
And well, Pac-Man Jones also had a lot of criminal activity going around where Isaiah Wilson's dealing with internal personal struggles.
Well, he's dealing with petty misdemeanors. Pac-Man was dealing with and was caught up in
there's a way bigger difference in criminal. A DUI is a bad thing, right? It's a crime.
It's criminal activity.
But you also understand, Zach, of what I'm saying is that is a big time mistake. A DUI is a humongous mistake, but it's way different than the criminal activity that Pac-Man Jones was doing, where he was out there fighting people in clubs. Like Pac-Man wasn't making mistakes. That was who he was. Isaiah Wilson, I think, is in a really bad place, and he is making mistakes.
Well, Pac-Man, it took him years to right his ways. I don't know if he completely did. I've kind of lost, my eye on Pac-Man, but you can't stay in the league for as long as Pac-Man Jones did and not improve, right? Teams won't give you that many chances if you continuously mess up. So Pac-Man did right his ways at some point. I mean, I'm sure there's a documentary on him.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, he was in the league for 10 years.
Well, yeah, that's the functioning part of it. He was also really good when he was playing. And that's the part of Isaiah Wilson. When he was playing, he wasn't good. He sucked. He was so bad. He couldn't even get in his stance the right way. Like, that's what I'm saying here. And that's the Josh Gordon example. Josh Gordon is really, really good, but he cannot stay off the commissioner's exempt list.
Yeah, But you bring up everybody's past, and Orlando brings up, what Lawan went through as a young man. Everybody makes mistakes, right? We've always said that. I've made my fair share. Austin, you have too. Everybody has. But it's about your opportunity and your responsibility. Where you are in your life when you're making those mistakes, how big those mistakes are, and if you're an NFL player and you're a first-round pick, those mistakes are amplified. They just are. And I think we said, Austin, you and I, we said this a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week on the show. Guys, everybody's like, man, I feel bad for Isaiah Wilson, all this stuff. Everybody's giving him crap and all this. If Isaiah Wilson was drafted by the New York Giants and did this stuff, this guy, I mean, it's not even funny what the tabloids and the media would do to this young man to even more put pressure on him. So we're easy on him. Nashville's an easy meaty market. It just is. You can have, some guys be harsh. I'm harsh at times. Austin's harsh at times. Buck, the Kowarskis of the world that, people don't necessarily agree with because they say what they feel. But that is a drop in the bucket when it comes to being harsh on players making mistakes in the whole scheme of NFL media.
Travis, you got to stop, man. He says the refrigerator Perry was out of shape, but Ditka learned how to use him. Like, you've got to stop with these things, Travis. Like,
there's no apples to apples comparison.
Yeah, right. No, like the refrigerator Perry, that was the freaking 80s. Like, they didn't have off-season programs in the 80s. And like, you cannot use Isaiah Wilson because he is not right. Like, he is not good at football, nor is he mentally able to commit to being better at football right
That's
now.
why John Robinson said what he said.
That's why he's on the non-football list. He is off the roster. John Robinson released a statement and said he needs to take care of his own things, and we cannot continue to have him on this roster because there's no chance for him right now.
Well,
Buck Rising wrote it at our website this past Saturday. The Titans basically sent a big message that they are not counting on Isaiah Wilson for the rest of this season.
I think the message goes even further than that, Austin. When the general manager of a football team has to make a statement to say we can no longer have this person in our facility or on our roster for this season until he fixes his own problems, it's not saying that he's not going to play. It's telling me that he's hurting this team.
Well, because everybody's
hurting this team internally instead of helping.
Everybody is sick of answering questions about Isaiah Wilson.
I am too. I don't like talking about. Nobody likes talking about some guy's problems that aren't being fixed. Like nobody likes talking about that. It's drama that the only way that it's fixed is by Isaiah Wilson, and neither of us or anybody watching this show or participating in a Titans fan, they can't do anything about it.
Right. So here's what and I will wrap up on this.
Well, so in the words of Nick Saban, stop asking.
So quit asking. So with Isaiah Wilson, I think he's on the Kevin Dodd track. Is that Kevin Dodd got through training camp or parts of training camp of year 2 and was cut after that. I think Kevin Dodd gets an opportunity throughout when they have to come back to the facility in April. That is when Isaiah Wilson's time is ticking. April through July, and then if he doesn't do the right things through those months, he's not going to be on this roster next year.
Yeah. Do you think? What if he gets another DUI in January or something, or makes a mistake, or will they cut him?
It would be very easy to do that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, A to Z Sports, Zach here live on a Thursday, which means whether you like it or not, I like it or not, it is Magic Bucket time. And we've got the Magic Bucket presented by BioPure Music City. It's also a sticker week for you, Zach. So I will let you get your sticker ready, and I will tell everybody about Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness, where one 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room. I did my workout yesterday. Mandu.com, your first workout is free. It's easy on your joints. If you've had an injury in the past that you can't lift weights like you used to, Mandu is for you. If you don't have time to go to the weight room and lift at the gym 3 times a week, an hour and a half at a time, then Mandu is for you. If you live a busy life, Mandu is for you. If you want to get back into shape, you can start Mandu right now. Mandu.com, your first workout's free. Full body electronic muscle stimulation is a 15-minute workout, and it is legit. The science is real. The results are real. So check them out, Mandu.com.
All right, A to Z Sports, it is Magic Bucket time, presented by BioPure. And Austin, I had to look at my calendar today because I was like, am I going to get an opportunity to display my Christmas-themed sticker that I got? And the answer is no. So I'm going to have to do it here on December 10th. Next week is your week on Thursday, and then the following week is Christmas Eve, in which we won't have a show. So
we will do Magic Bucket earlier in the week like we did for Thanksgiving. We'll adjust.
Well, then I'm going to have to save this sticker. Okay, if that's going to be my week, I don't want to blow it.
Yeah. For Thanksgiving week, when we had no show on Thursday, we did Magic Bucket Tuesday. So then we'll do Trivia Monday, Magic Bucket Tuesday, and Shade on Wednesday.
Okay. So
make it work.
I'm going to have to do this then because I won't get an opportunity to do my New Year's themed.
You will. The next week, we will do Magic Bucket on Tuesday if we don't have a show on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, but that will be your sticker week.
Oh, that's right. My bad. You're correct.
You're 1 week ahead, my man.
So what you could do is you could do your Christmas sticker now and then do your New Year's sticker closer to New Year's.
No, I want it closer to Christmas. The closer to Christmas, that's a feel thing. My sticker, this is timeless. This is a timeless sticker. It will forever be known as 2020 dumpster fire. Go ahead and throw 2020 in the dumpster, set it ablaze, and move on. My 2020 dumpster fire sticker will go on the Magic Bucket, also green themed with that dumpster. That is my sticker. It really was my New Year's sticker, so we can kind of throw everything away and go into 2021, which I believe, Austin, as an optimist, I believe will be a better year. But
that is
blows.
I really like that sticker. That's a well done sticker.
Yeah, I agree. It's great.
Yeah, it's a big deal. All right, A to Z Sports, the BioPure Music City Magic Bucket. Oh, wrong graphic for me. There, BioPure Music City Magic Bucket. Let me get the correct graphic for BioPure up there. BioPure Music City, changing the standard of clean. Protect your crew from the flu and the coronavirus by having them disinfect your home or your business. BioPure Music City, BioPureService.com. Their phone number right there. So Who do I draw for this week? Am I drawing for me right now?
Yes.
Okay. This is for me. All right. Okay, so you've already had to do this. And so now I do this. This is from Parker Dobson. And I have to think a little bit. Tell the audience and describe what your awkward phase was growing up.
Oh, it's an easy one. You need an easy one for last week.
Yeah, I could use an easy one. I do need to think about it. So I can like have good.
So take your time. You can pick for me, and I'll have to do the magic bucket, in which I don't want to, but it's responsibility.
Okay, so my awkward phase. I think I've got it. I think I've got it. Okay, so well, this doesn't work.
Yeah, I know what it is. It does. So you can be as creative as possible with it. I know exactly what it is, but not everybody may know.
All right.
So what was your awkward phase?
My awkward phase was between freshman year and sophomore year of high school, not college, but between freshman year of high school and sophomore year, where everybody else was growing and I did not. I stayed around 5'4". I started having acne around my nose and my mouth a lot. And I was a late bloomer, and I'm not afraid to say that. So I was later on, and so I still had my kid voice. I had not grown.
Hey guys.
I was playing like as a freshman football player, I was okay, but as a sophomore football player, I was so far behind because I couldn't develop anything in the weight room. Same thing went along with basketball in high school because I played both sports for the team. But here's the crazy thing. Nate says 5'4". How's the weather down there? I grew 4 inches from football season starting my junior year to football season starting my senior year. I went from 5'7" to 5'11". And then I went from like 160 or 155, 160 at 5'7" to like 185 at 5'11". So
you grew into your body.
I grew into my body like over the summer of my junior to senior year. So I was a late bloomer for sure.
So here's a good question. What's better, being a late bloomer? Because I was the same way. I was a later bloomer. Or being the one guy in 7th grade who's 6 foot and has armpit hair.
I would much rather be the guy who's a late bloomer than the early guy.
I agree.
Yeah, which is my experience.
Can you be a late bloomer later in life, or you are what you are, right? Once you
I think men absolutely hit their stride in their 30s. I think they can. You turned me on to this interview with Ryan Russillo on Pardon My Take, and Ryan Russillo talked about how he's this big jacked up guy who can just bench press a ton of weight, but he actually said he was a scrawny kid. And all through college and all through his early 20s, and then all of a sudden at 28, bang, he got his man strength, and now he's Ryan Russillo. So that's a super late bloomer. I was a late bloomer in high school, for sure.
And I think the benefit, again, just men versus women, is men they can bloom later because it's just the development is they. That's the good thing about there's good things about being men and good things about being women. Good thing about being a guy is you can look better looking the older you get, right? Because you looked 5'4", like a snot-nosed, acne-ridden kid, while Samantha in class was this beautiful high schooler, and now you're 30 and you're in the prime of your life. I love that because I'm 30, you're 30. We're in the prime.
You're 33. You're 33.
Well, 30-ish.
You can't say I'm 30 when you're 33. It's just not factually correct.
Once you I'm tweening, right? So I'm 33. I'm definitely not 30, but I'm not 35.
You're still early 30s.
Will 34 be early 30s?
34 is mid 30s.
37?
37 is late 30s. 37 is arguable. You could be either mid-30s or late 30s, depends on how you act. But how I view it is 30 through 33, or really, 20 through 23 early, right? The 0 through the 3 is your early in the decade. 4 through 6 is mid. 7 through the end is late.
I have, and this is a mindset, I have a 5-year back pedal window. So, and this is how I've usually, and maybe this is the late bloomer in me, but when I'm 33, I usually act more like I'm 28, 29. So I'm curious when I'm 45, what will I act like when I'm 40? So I backtrack 5 years.
So your mindset is you're 28.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why you get hurt playing basketball almost every other week.
Well, no, look, I've been healthy so far.
It's because you've been playing less basketball because of the pandemic, so you haven't been getting hurt as much. Zach, I tell you this: you are not 28. You cannot continue to do things on the basketball court like you're in your 20s.
Well, next year I'll be 29.
I agree with Nardo. BioPure Music City, by the way, have them out to disinfect your home or your business. BioPure service. I agree with Nardo. He says, no notification, screw Facebook. Yes, Nardo, we've been doing this show for an hour and 20 minutes. And I personally, on my personal Facebook, have still not gotten a Facebook notification. So many people have gotten a Facebook notification or have not gotten one. And it's unfortunate. We could have had a much better, more fun show. I still think we had a great show, but it definitely sucked without the Facebook notification.
Well, the gift tour rolls on tomorrow. We got another great place for you to get a gift from. Shout out to Jack Gentry, who's helped facilitate that for us. He's done a great job there. The gift tour, we do this every year. It's really about giving gifts for your loved ones this holiday season. I did a little Christmas shopping yesterday. People are kind of in the midst of that here on December 10th. So we'll be live on location tomorrow morning. Got a great show on tap. Make sure you tune in, follow all of our social media handles, and we'll rock and roll throughout the day heading into the weekend.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your Thursday. I will be live with Jonathan Crompton for a Vols preview. Crompton's been doing his homework. Remember, if you watch the post-game show Saturday, Crompton had homework to do leading up for this Thursday on how he would help fix the Vols football program. So that should be fun. As he's got plenty of ideas, he's not going to hold back. So we'll see. I'll see you guys at 1 o'clock Central Time today, and then Friday morning when hopefully Facebook notifications can work again. So we'll see you guys later on. Have a good one.
Adios.